All right. Welcome everyone to our second annual Fulbright Week. Tonight we have a really special event planned for you. We have a Q&A with 4 of our 5 current Fulbright finalists. And we will be getting to those introductions in just a moment. But we want to say a quick hello from our team in OSDFA. So for everyone joining us, my name is Laura Collins. I am the director for the Office of Scholar Development and Fellowship Advising. And Jordan.
Hi, everybody. My name is Jordan Myers. I'm the program coordinator with OSDFA.
Thank you. We are a 2-person team, but we are here to support you. And of course, we support our applicants in applying to awards like the Fulbright U.S. Student Program, which we're going to be spending some time talking about this evening. But we also support our students in applying for other award opportunities and really just exploring their interests more deeply. So let me see if I can advance. Okay, a quick introduction to who we are. You can see our photos there. Of course, you got to see it both on screen. But essentially, Jordan and I together, we meet with students across our campus, undergraduates, graduates, as well as our alum. And we talk to them about their interests, talk to them about their goals and their dreams. And to the best of our ability, we try to match them up with funded external opportunities. And so to show you a little bit about how we break this down, we very intentionally named our office Scholar Development and Fellowship Advising because we're focused on the process. And you'll hear us say that a lot of times, right? So a lot of the awards that we do support our students in applying for can be rather competitive in nature. You're going to hear from our Fulbright applicants tonight who can sort of detail what that experience is like. But hopefully they'll also share with you that regardless of outcome, there are skills and valuable experiences to be gained along the way. And so we really believe that this supports your development as a person overall, professionally, academically, and more. And then, of course, we do spend a lot of time trying to match you with these external opportunities, in which some cases we're having tremendous success, of course, with our finalists that are here tonight, but in other award areas as well. These, again, can be very transformative opportunities that, might set you up for the next stage of your life. While the fellowship and award space is very vast, in OSDFA, we're doing our very best to kind of hone in and focus on some priority awards. So on the screen here, you'll see a selection of the awards that we really either enjoy working on most. Fulbright is right at the top of that list, of course, or that maybe require a certain level of support from an institution, whether that's an endorsement or nomination or some other formal process. So those are the awards, of course, that we would support as well. This is by no means exhaustive, and certainly there are awards that are outside of these tiers that we do and have supported our applicants in applying to, but these are the ones that we're really putting a lot of time and energy into supporting presently. All right. So to get to tonight's big event, we're going to be talking about our panel first. We're going to have them do some brief introductions. So as you see your image come up on the screen, I'll ask you to unmute and just say hello, maybe tell us a little bit about yourself beyond what we see on the screen. And then we're going to be diving into our Q&A. So first up, we have Monty.
Hi, everyone. I'm Monty. I'm a doctoral candidate at the Department of Public Policy Affairs, something like that. And this was my second time applying for the Fulbright, first time making it to the semifinal. So very excited.
Thank you, Monty. Maybe it might be worth mentioning at this stage. We're going to talk a little bit more in depth, but I think for you in particular, a little bit about your background and what led you to apply to Fiji.
Oh yeah, so I am a return Peace Corps volunteer. I did my Peace Corps service in Fiji, and just while there, I had a good 2 years to really interact with the people and just see how tourism really impacts the land. And so, I came back, started the program here, and learned more about community development, resilience, and that on an international level, and it led me to go back and apply for this Fulbright to really go and explore that topic on an extensive level. So yeah.
Perfect. Thanks so much for sharing. And we'll definitely hear more about Fiji and your project proposal in just a few. Next up, we have Rebecca. Rebecca is a current law student, and unless anything has changed, Rebecca is just finishing up a class and is going to be joining us ASAP. So we'll make sure that when she joins our room tonight, she's able to tell you a little bit more. But I'll share just on behalf of Rebecca. As I mentioned, she's a current law student. She's going to be graduating at the end of this academic year, and her research proposal was to Nigeria. And again, when she joins us, I'll have her speak a little bit more about the specifics of her work. Sid.
Hi, my name is Sid Johnson. I use the pronouns, and I graduated in 22 with degrees in theater and history. Currently, I live in DC and I work at the US House for the Progressive Caucus, which is super fun, getting to work with all the progressive members to advance the progressive agenda. I am a finalist for Luxembourg. Last year, I was an alternate. So we're hoping, because I keep on saying that if you really messed up to make someone an alternate 2 years in a row, like if they do that again, we're gonna have to have a conversation. But yeah, that's about me. Thank you, everyone, and I'm so excited to be here.
Thank you so much, Sid. Elena.
Hi, my name is Elena Cabezas, and I am in Montreal as Monty. I'm in the, well, maybe not in the same one, but I'm in Public Affairs and Community Development Masters. At the same time, I'm doing a Master's in Teaching Spanish. So, I'm covering all my bases. I applied to the Fulbright in Argentina last time, and I was a semifinalist. So this is my second year in a row being a semifinalist, and I feel like Sid. If they don't do something new, I want something different this time. But if not, the process has been amazing. So I have learned a lot in the process, and it's positive no matter what. So
Wonderful. Thank you so much. I have to just share a fun fact about Elena. So at the time when we first met and she applied last year, she was in only one master's program in teaching in Spanish. And each year in March, we have a celebration of all of our students and alumni who have applied for awards all across campus called You Hit Submit. And during that meeting about this time last year, Elena met another applicant to a different award who was in our public policy program. They hit it off. And then the next thing I know, she's pursuing a second degree simultaneously. So this world really does open up, new connections, new avenues to explore. So it's lots of fun. And I'm sure Elena will tell you more about that experience if anyone's interested. All right. And so we have a series of questions that we have prepared that we think are commonly asked of us as advisors for the program that we have prepared for our panelists, and we want you to hear right from them what it's like to go through all the stages of the application process. In some cases, to do it more than once. The three people you've heard from this evening thus far are all returning applicants, which is very, very common in fellowships generally, particularly for Fulbright. And so we'll get right to it. So as these questions appear on the screen for the three of you that are with us at this time, please feel free to chime in, as the question speaks to you. We have a lot of questions, so you don't have to feel obligated to answer everyone, but definitely let us know when you have some strong feelings about something. There we go. How did you first learn about the Fulbright U.S. Student Program? And what interested you most about the opportunity? Was it something that was fully funded, the opportunity to spend time abroad, career growth, maybe something else?
I can speak about this. The Fulbright for time. My siblings and I were very competitive growing up, and the Fulbright is renowned. Both my siblings ended up going somewhere in Europe. We are from Spain, so they had some trips that took them to somewhere else, year, sometimes 2 years. But as I grow older, and I had my professional careers, I'm much older than most people here. I received an email from the when I was master's, and I thought, why not? Why not at least try? And I read to Laura, and she supported me in what was literally a last minute application last time. We talked on a Thursday, and the applications were due on Monday. So that process of like trying to craft a whole application in 2 days with the help of and support of Laura, like intense, but totally worth it. And for me, it's more about the experience than the fact that it's fun. It's just, I want to experience teaching in another country and being in a different culture, even though I have been in another country, but that's that.
Thank you so much. Sid.
Hi, can you all hear me? My internet's kind of going in and out.
I think, yeah, we're having some quality bandwidth issues, so feel free to take yourself off camera if you need to, but yes, Sid, we can hear you.
Okay, great. So I actually learned about the Fulbright program because I met Laura through her coming and presenting to a student government meeting. And then on the bottom of her email, it has the Fulbright. And I was told before meeting Laura that she's gonna tell you to do the Fulbright. She loves her Fulbrighters. And additionally, I was actually supposed to go to both Paris and Japan right before the pandemic hit. So I never got the opportunity to study abroad and only started traveling abroad now in my working capacity. So for all the fellowships I applied for, it was very important to me that I get that study abroad experience I wasn't able to because I was a pandemic student.
Thank you for sharing. Monty, do you have anything you'd like to add here?
I'm laughing because Elena and I shared kind of the same experience as you, to where it was a last minute application, which really taught me this time to start much earlier. But I found out about Fulbright from my homegirl, who Patience Williams. She won back in 2019. But she put the bug in my head about this. And I think what really drew me to it, aside from the international aspect of it, was the prestige. And again, like Elena, I am competitive, and so I really wanted it. And so that's kind of what drew me back the second time. But yeah, you learn about it from networking. I learned about it from networking and meeting with other people.
I love that. Monty, I have such fond memories of that 2019 cohort. It sort of was like a domino effect. I think I met one person early, and then every day or week thereafter, and it was a short time. It was about a 2-week span, but one person showed up every day and said, "Oh, Monty told me," or "Patience told me," or "Jolene told me." They all knew each other, and they kept sending people, and it was a really fun time to be working with you all. So those are good memories. Thank you. All right. So as folks may or may not know, the Fulbright has a few different paths that you can consider. You can pursue what's called open study research, which is really two categories in one. Open study, meaning you can go and earn a graduate degree abroad. Research, of course, being what it sounds like, where you can propose a project in any discipline around the world. And then the ETA, English Teaching Assistant. And so Monty here represents the study research, while Elena and Sydney both have applied for the ETA. And so we want to speak a little bit about those choices, right? So choosing your award type, and then selecting your country from among, more than 140 different options. And so Sid, you'd like to kick us off, please do.
Yeah, I could start. So I chose ETA partially because it's easier, So for open research / study, you actually have to go out of your way to contact a university in that country and get them to approve your project, get a professor that's willing to work for you. So you need a lot more planning and a lot more time to be able to do open study or research versus ETA. I also have teaching experience, and so that's why it interested me. And in looking for a country as a minority, Laura and I had lots of conversations for the times I did apply for Fulbright about what kind of countries it would be safe for me to travel to, whether that be my LGBTQ identity or my Black identity, making sure that it's somewhere where it's not only safe, but they encourage that kind of diversity like we try to in the US, and some places are not as welcoming. In addition to that, I really fell in love with Luxembourg because I studied a lot of Western Europe, so I knew that's where I wanted to go, and I described it as a hodgepodge of cultures similar to the US. It's Belgian culture, German culture, and French culture, so it really reminded me of the US as well.
Thank you so much.
So I'll continue with the ATA. When I applied to this program, I did not have a master's yet. I mean, by the time I, finished the 2 masters, I'm graduating in like what, 5 weeks. I would be in a different situation, and I may have had thought about it differently had I applied, now. But so I didn't have much of a choice. So I'm doing an ETA, plus I am a certified ESL instructor, like a ESL teacher in New Jersey. And I was studying at that point. I was studying a master's in teaching Spanish. So I wanted to experience teaching. The reason why I chose Argentina is because I am from the Basque region of Spain, and Argentina has a lot of connections with the Basque region because there was a lot of immigration there. And it has like incredible natural beauty, and it's a way of like for me to reconnect with nature and myself and give something to the community all together. And I felt that also the transition for me to go to a Spanish speaking country kind of made sense. It would make everything easier. And since I have already like in my life, like transition from one country to another, I know what it is, like the adjustment that it entails to go somewhere where you don't really speak the language, or that you have more difficulties and there's no cultural similarities. So Argentina just had everything kind of that made sense for me to, choose it.
Thank you.
For me, I chose research because I genuinely love research. I wouldn't be getting my PhD if I didn't absolutely love, making puzzles out of life's complicated problems. But yeah, the first time I applied, I was in the master's program, and so it just made sense. It just made sense with the work that I was doing and kind of the issues that I was wanting to look at. So that's why I chose research. As far as countries, so the first time I applied to Canada. And I didn't get it because, as Sid says, you do need a host affiliate to, sponsor you and say they take interest in your work. So this time around, I chose Fiji because again, I'm in the PhD program this time, and so Fiji more aligned with my interests, looking at like institutions and how they impact people. Not to mention I like reconnected with some of my old friends there, and so we were talking again. So it just made sense. And it was much easier this time around because of the previous connections that I had to find a host affiliate. I ended up with 2 affiliates this time, one from the government and one from the university. So that really helped. And when picking a country, like again, I chose Fiji because of my previous connections to it. But if you're picking a country, I would implore you to look at some of the countries that don't get that much love. Because they have statistics that they publish about how many people apply to each country versus how many people get the award. And so Canada, they get almost 150 to 200 applicants, but they only select like 30 people versus Fiji, which again, I didn't know this, but I got lucky this time that Fiji, they're on average have like less than 5 applicants, and then they give 3 to 4 awards out each time. So I would implore you to look at those countries to see, again, which ones don't get that much love, because a Fulbright is a Fulbright no matter where you go. And the most popular countries are going to be the ones who get the bulk of the applications. Yeah.
I love that advice. I would say, you know, we're always really cautious. Like, we don't want to encourage people to spend too much time in those statistics, but using them as a guide, as you've sort of suggested, can be really helpful. I think the best thing you can do is to be really open. Like, I know I want a Latin American country, but then looking at the statistics and sort of like letting maybe them sway you in a direction that you hadn't expected, can definitely be a good strategy to help play the numbers game, right? So I love that.
Yeah, absolutely. Whatever's for you will be for you. So like go with your gut, but play the odds too.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of running jokes about this. Like, you know, when someone comes in and says they want to apply to a Spain ETA or to graduate programs in the UK, we all kind of like, okay, because like we know it's a really tough road. Doesn't mean it doesn't happen. People get Fulbrights there every year. But there are challenges when you are vying for one of many, many spots, or one of few spots among many, sorry. All right, so for our next question, you are all 2-time applicants, so you can reflect on this across your experiences. So what felt hard when you were applying? And what felt easy, if anything?
I can go on this. So for me, it's like the application process was hard. The first time around was harder, I guess, because I did it in one weekend. But for me, like being as old as I am, cramming everything that I have done in my life in 2 pages or like less than a page, like it's really hard. And trying to figure out the hierarchy and of your life and what things are important and how to prioritize what you want, how you want to be perceived in a way. Even sometimes you have to give up parts that are important for you that that are not important for the process. So you have to kind of always be like kind of thinking, yes, this is me, but at what point this is the most important part that I want them to see. So there's like you have to find a balance between who you are and how you want to be perceived, without leaving important parts of yourself behind, if that makes sense. But the second time around is easier. For me, the second time around was just adding the fact that I was doing another master's and justifying what this master's came about, like how it came to fruition. So, and then, I had gone through it one time. So the basis what was there. So I almost like, it's almost a blessing to do it twice because you learn in the process.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
To follow along that same line of thought, the hardest part was, how do we put it, the ego death that comes with this. You have to be really vulnerable in this process, and I didn't know that going in the first time around. And Laura is really, really good at that, to being like, this is cute, but like, give me the meat and potatoes. Like, what really are you trying to say here? Like, go a little deeper. She's almost like a psychologist in that way. She's like, I feel like I'm hearing you say, and you're like, oh, you are hearing me say that. That's this is really hard. But I think the easy part this time around was the research aspect of it. I definitely struggled with that the first time because I didn't have the skills that I have now. But this time around, it was a lot nicer to like be in my element. But yeah, that ego death was really hard.
So did you want to add anything?
I mean, the only thing I could really add is, I talked a little bit about this when I came to campus recently, but part of this process is really digging into yourself and finding out who you are and what you want to accomplish. And I would say it took a lot for me to think I was capable of doing some of these things. And it also, you kind of have to be able to tell what you're going to do. Like, what are your hopes and dreams? And that can sometimes be scary, and it can also be very vulnerable to open yourself up like that to a bunch of strangers. And so I would say that is the hardest part. Also, just picking where you want to go, where you'll feel best. I think that as we're talking about the possibilities of maybe me winning and going, I am terrified of being by myself in Europe for 9 months. And that's a very scary thought. And so I think that aspect as well, you have to pick somewhere where you can only guess that you're going to be happy for the next 9 months. That's scary as well. But for what felt easiest, I think the easiest part was probably talking to Laura. Laura's very supportive and will listen to whatever I have to say and actually pick out what's worth putting down on paper while I just write at her. So I would say having the people around me was easiest.
I love that. Coming up shortly, we'll ask you a question about how do you kind of find your people who are going to support you through this process. And, just to echo Sid and Monty's points, and, Jordan and I are here to walk you through this process. Sometimes it's a little hard, right? Because we are like having you scrap some of your most precious words. But we're really just trying to pull out your best story and help you, shine for these reviewers who are going to be, ruthless in in reading your application. As we move into our next question, I also want to take a moment. Rebecca has finished her class and is here with us now. So Rebecca, do you want to take just a quick moment to say hello?
Sure. Thanks, Laura. And I apologize for joining late. I had class. Hi, everyone. It's nice to be here. And it's been great listening to everyone's story. To add to what was said about what was hard, I would also say that just looking through all the requirements and really understanding, where do you fit, like within that reflective process? Where do you fit? Is it as an ETA, open research? And if it's open research, where do you fit? Just based on so many rules. And at some point, I even noticed they changed by the day on the website. So that was definitely hard. And what felt easy, honestly, just knowing that Laura was a phone call away, Laura was an email away. Just having that sense of support that I can call someone and ask a question, and she always had the answer and said, I would, even when you didn't have it right there on the spot, Laura, you would say, you know what, I will call this person, I would email this person, and they'll get an answer. And just having that feeling and sense of support made this process feel easy. So,
I'm glad to hear you say that. So Rebecca is our only one-time applicant here with us this evening. And we bonded very quickly. So of course, everyone else I've worked with, across a number of years, and Rebecca and I, we had an intensive time. Not only was she, like some of our other applicants on their first go around, joined the pool a little later in the process. So yep, we got a late start, but then we initially we were aiming for a different country and a different kind of program proposal altogether. And then one of these, things that we caught called Fulbright, we pivoted. She put together a brand new application in, days. And so, Rebecca's story is a great one if you have questions about kind of shifting your plans midway. Okay. So next up, was there anything that intimidated you about applying for a Fulbright, and how or what made you persevere to finally hit submit on that application?
I think like what we said before, right? All the rules, all the like the wording of everything, like you have to really like get into all the explanations that they do and follow the their commands and stuff. So that was intimidating to a certain extent. And then you kind of have this thing in your head saying, am I good enough? Right? Like to a certain extent, I guess we think that we're good enough. If not, we wouldn't be here. But at the same time, you have that in the back of your head, and that's intimidating at a personal level. But I think that like you guys said, like Laura is there, she encourages you, and like you really, she has seen a lot of applications, and she has a perspective that makes you kind of reassures you. So I think that helps you persevere.
Thank you.
Yeah, I would say, and I could just be speaking for myself here, but the intimidating part about this process for me was that the lack of representation. Looking across Fulbright materials, groups that I've joined, programs like there's not very many people who look like me in the program. And I'll give them credit that they are trying in this post-pandemic racial climate to like make that better, but that can be very intimidating. I mean, it was the same thing with Peace Corps. And I struggle with that a lot just because in most of the things that I've ever done, being one of very few in these spaces, it's very taxing and it's a lot of work. And I mean, I'm still struggling with that now. Like I want the Fulbright, I want it more than anything, but on the other side of it, it's like if I do get this, holy smokes, now I have to go and do this thing and be like, deal with the bureaucracy of like I guess hoping that the people in charge of my safety and of my life like get it and are going to care about me in a way. Like again, with Fiji, thank God, like I've been to the country before and I have connections there before. So if they don't do what I need them to do, I can maneuver and figure it out my own way. But like still that uneasy feeling of like, holy smokes, I'm about to go do this and I'm one of the only ones who look like me doing this. Support systems, mental health, that kind of stuff. It's very much. I guess it could be a hindrance to making you want to go through it and hit submit. But as far as perseverance to complete the application and just do it, I'll echo what everyone else has said. The office has been very, very supportive. I love the fact that Laura's very enthusiastic about getting his applications in. She's like, "You want to dream big? Let's dream big. Let's climb this mountain. I got some tools here. I'll be in your ear the whole time. Like, let's make this happen and let's do this." And that's really nice on this side to just know that someone is on your side, someone's there, and it makes the world of difference for persevering and wanting to hit submit with these other thoughts in your head about like things of the world. So yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing. I do want to, comment that your observations are they're valid and they're true. And you're right to say that Fulbright is making an effort. They have this mission statement of having their awardees represent the diversity of the United States. And the diversity of the United States is ever evolving. And so being more representative, I think, is really key. They have, in the last several years, a number of affinity groups have popped up to better support our Fulbright grantees. And so there's organizations like Fulbright Noir, which supports Black Fulbrighters abroad, Fulbright Prism, which supports LGBT Fulbrighters abroad. And these probably are based on the things that you've seen, Monty, right? So that these applicants know I have a community who will, who has either walked in my shoes or is walking in them simultaneous with me and can offer me that additional layer of support. And I think that's really important to acknowledge where there may be shortcomings and what they're trying to do to improve that. And I'm happy to think that our finalists this year are very representative of the diversity of our campus. And for our future applicants, they should take heart in knowing that all of you have walked this path before and would be supportive for all of them. So thank you so much for bringing that up. Let's move on to another question. What is something you wish you knew before you applied?
I'm going again, I guess. Um, so the only thing that I wish I had known, I guess, was that the wait period is much longer than you think, even when you think how, like, you know how many months it's going to be, but you have this little pit in your stomach for months. You don't want to hope because you know that it's extremely competitive, but at the same time, I think it's inevitable that you have a little hope because you, like Montreal says, like, if they give it to you, you have to be prepared. And it's scary. You're leaving everything behind for 9 months. Okay. I've been married for 22 years. My husband has told me he's not coming to visit me. So this is a big decision, you know? So it's not a joke. And I'm leaving, my kids are in college. I'm leaving them behind. I'm leaving my dogs behind. I'm leaving everything behind. So, this pit in your stomach of waiting and saying, wait a minute, if they give it to me, what the hell am I doing? And that is something that maybe if I had known it, I wouldn't have said submit. I don't know. But it's one of those things that is like, ooh.
I love that. I mean, you did show up for it twice.
I know, I'm that crazy.
No, it's wonderful. And I think, when you get to this stage, it starts to feel real, right? When we're talking about this in August and, through the summer, it's like, oh, like what's the harm in applying? And then suddenly in January, you find out like, I'm that much closer. And I can definitely understand. I mean, but bear in mind, it is not legally binding to be accepted for a Fulbright. Not that I don't want you all to take it, but you will still be awarded a Fulbright no matter what. And then there's people like, Sid was named an alternate last year. Had anybody said, it's not for me, I'm not going to go, then that opens that door for somebody who receives that really special status. So there's a path for everyone. Rebecca, you're our only first-time applicant here. So all these other folks, they did it once, and then the second time around, they've all sort of said, oh, it was easier the second time around. So you haven't had that opportunity, and hopefully you won't need to. What's something you wish you knew before you applied?
I would say, honestly, it's just that belief that you can do this because you see people who are Fulbright awardees and you look at their profile and you're like, wow, that's pretty impressive. I mean, even our chancellor is a Fulbright alum. The dean of the law school is a Fulbright alum. I'm sure so many other people are. And you look at the application too after you log in and you're like, whoa. This is a lot of information that they're asking for. So I think, someone asked what chancellor, the chancellor for the Camden campus, Chancellor Tillis, he was a Fulbrighter in Brazil.
Yes.
And the dean of the law school was a Fulbrighter, I think in Tanzania, somewhere along, if not Tanzania, somewhere around there. So, so yeah, I think I wish I knew how lengthy the application was because I definitely had to put in a lot of time and effort into getting it done. And I remember the day it was due, I was so afraid. I was like, oh my gosh. I think I had another question and Laura was like, just go ahead, just submit, just submit. I was like, just trying to make sure everything was okay. She was like, you know what, just go ahead, just send it now, it's fine. And so yeah, I think it would be helpful. I mean, I don't know if that's allowed, maybe to just see a skeleton of what the application is, so you kind of know what you're coming up against. I mean, I won't say against, but coming up towards maybe, just to like mentally prepare yourself for it. But yeah, and
Yeah.
also I'm glad to know about the Slack, which Laura you shared. That was also very helpful with even seeing drafts of or templates for the letters of support and just general questions people were asking back and forth. So.
Thank you so much. I'm glad you shared that, the Slack, and we'll talk a little bit more about what that is and what it looks like, but it's essentially a community of other applicants. And I think that, again, that'll speak to one of our questions that we're going to explore into, like, what does it mean to, work with other people and find people that support your application and can be your sanity in working through something that can be really time consuming, very challenging. In addition to, to Jordan and I supporting you, who else is in your corner? Okay. So, this question is inspired by, all of you have kind of gone on different trajectories. Some of you have applied in back-to-back years. Some of you have had space in between, or again, of course, this is your first time. But as we've noted, the process of applying is very reflective, requires a level of vulnerability. So how would you say that applying for the Fulbright program contributed to your development? How has it sort of affected you personally, professionally, helped you think about your goals long term? Have they evolved as a result of the deep kind of thinking that's required? So Monty, maybe you could start us off because you had the biggest gap in between your two applications.
Yeah, so applying for the Fulbright as far as development goes, I think it's a wonderful thing. So the first time around I didn't get it, didn't even make it to the semifinals, but in just doing that application the first time, I gained a lot of skills as far as putting a proposal together, as far as writing a letter of recommendation excuse me, writing a personal statement that wasn't like surface level, that was actually really good and reflected who I was as a person. So that was 2019, and I applied again this year, and it made the process, it just made it a little bit easier because again, I had those skills. I had written the application already. I had done the statement of purpose. I had developed a plan, and I knew what the deficiencies were in that first application that didn't, contribute to me getting it. But this time I knew that, like, okay, I need to give more here. And then not to mention that it also strengthened my community of people. Like there was Laura and then the Laura, Jeannie, and oh, forgive me for forgetting the other woman's name. Who helped, who like looked at my stuff and like gave me advice. But the people in my department, my friends outside of the department who looked at stuff, like it really helped to strengthen that, because I knew that I needed a large tribe of people to help me do this. And then as far as helping me in thinking about my goals, like Fulbright, like I knew that I just needed it on my CV. Like, again, a lot of people have said this is a very prestigious award. This award opens doors. The network alone is really good, but to have a Fulbright even as a semifinalist, like that's another thing. You can put it down on your application that you were a Fulbright semifinalist. Just having those things there are like those little tiny invisible signals of cultural capital that just can help you achieve your goals. Like I don't know how to describe it. Like it's just it's helped me develop, because I don't know, I figured out what I wanted, and I figured out how to use this to meet my end goals. And I'm very happy about that.
Yeah. In that first application, Monty was approaching the second year of his master's program, and I think anticipated using the Fulbright as a gap year experience as he sort of thought about what came next. And now, as a doctoral candidate, he's using the Fulbright as an opportunity to complete his dissertation research. And so what's nice about that is that you can use the Fulbright as it fits you at any given time, and that purpose and that reason can evolve as your goals continue to evolve. And I think Monty's story is a really good example of that. Anyone else want to contribute here?
I mean, for me, the applying to the Fulbright makes you go through the process of looking at your past and look at the paths that you have already walked. And at the same time, it makes you think about your future, right? Because you need to invent a future in which Fulbright now belongs, right? And it makes you see yourself differently. And I think the whole process from writing the application, from learning how to go through the process of writing the application, and through analyzing your life and scrutinizing it, I think it's just a process of self-discovery I thought it was very valuable. That's my thoughts on that.
Thank you.
I agree. To add to what's been said, I just wanted to add the fun side. There's a question about what else would you do, and I also thought that was quite reflective and thinking about your goals. Like, how would you like culturally immerse yourself in this space? And I felt that in addition to the research side, it was another time to reflect, to say, what am I going to be doing while I'm in this country if I do get the Fulbright? And I think for me, I was like, you know what, I actually want to try the different types of cuisine. That's what I want to talk about. And I think, you know, even that in and of itself is a form of cultural experience and being a cultural ambassador. And before starting the application, I really didn't think about that as a goal, which I thought was another, you know, just form of self-discovery. So, you know what, I want to enjoy the food, the theater, the arts, the entertainment, meeting with young people who are entrepreneurs. So, yeah.
I'm so glad that you shared that because yes, we're definitely making it sound like this is all work and no fun. And the Fulbright application and, the review is definitely looking for, serious people who are very, very interested in cultural exchange. But the way that that can be achieved can come in lots of different forms. So I love that, Rebecca shared all those things about what she wanted to include. There is space in the application for ways that you want to engage with your host country. So I've had applicants who said that they want to have a poetry club or a soccer club or, experience the cuisine and the cultural traditions, holidays. There's so many ways for you to really think about, living in this place and being a part of it. And for someone like Monty, who's lived abroad for a period of years and, can speak to like what that adaptation is like, I think it's really fun to kind of explore what you'd want to achieve, while you're away. Okay. So I've been hinting at this question and you all have sort of made little contributions about, your tribes and your people. I think one of the things that we believe really strongly in our office is that this is a lot easier when you have resources, whether that comes in the form of online, communication channels, people on campus. Of course, we have our office, but we also have a campus committee of faculty and staff members, as Monty spoke to. And one of the things we're really trying to build is this network, right? And letting students know, like, you should talk to each other, you should support each other and all those things. So, speak about your own experience and kind of working on these applications and whether you sought advice from the communities that are available to you, whether you wish you had done that more, and how you would advise someone else to kind of think about that moving forward.
I'll definitely say that community is really important, and that's even outside of this award. Like, you really can't, in my opinion, you really can't do much in life without a tribe and a community. Like, it helps. And with this, I've really loved the communities that have been cultivated. Rebecca mentioned the Slack channel. I love that Slack channel. Like, I was really hesitant at first because I was like, but like being in there, it's been nice because you have the moderators who have gone through this process before, but then you just get to sit in this weird space of waiting, as Lane has pointed out. Like, the waiting is terrible. It's very terrible. I cannot wait to find out what happens because I'm tired of this pit in my stomach. I just want to know what's happening with my life. But on this Slack channel, it's nice to be there with like hundreds of other people who are experiencing the same thing. And like, there's a meme channel on there where we just share memes about how like we really want this to be over. It gets broken down into like your specific regions as people are waiting, and they're so supportive. Whether you get the award or not, the people on there are just so supportive of you. And there's even a channel for like, if you don't get it, here are some other opportunities that you can go for and do. So like, community is great. And I would also stress community outside of this Fulbright space. That's also something that I really have loved, is that like, I have my community of people who are helping me get through this and helping me like fill out applications and stuff. But I also have my other community of people who don't know what a Fulbright is, who could care less what a Fulbright is. And they force me to stop thinking about it because within that space, we don't talk about that. We talk about trash TV. We talk about movies. We talk about everything but this. And it's nice because like for a couple hours, like the pit is gone. Of course, when I go home, I'm like checking applications and like looking through emails and stuff. But for a couple hours, it's nice to just like not think about it. So community in both sense of the word, it's really nice. I would highly suggest cultivating that space.
I love that.
It's funny because I actually have a date, right? Because I applied to the same country and they usually answer you the same day every year. So I know that the 12th of April, I should know what that, waiting has, amounted to. And it's funny because, you're just on hold. Like Monty, you just said, like, it feels like your life is on hold. I have applied to several PhDs and I have told them that I cannot answer them until the 12th. Now, in some of them, if I don't answer them the 12th, I'm out. So I really don't know what my life is going to look like next year until the 12th. Like, I cannot plan anything until I know this, because everything hinges on it. Like, I'm going to be gone for 9 months. Like, nobody's going to want me in a program if I disappear for 9 months. So regarding the structure that you have around it and your community, right? For me, I did it in a very isolated way, because the first time, because I did it in a weekend, I had no possibility of opportunity to really talk to anybody. So I think I read these essays to my husband maybe dozens of times until like he was gonna like just throw me out the window because it's like enough already. But I had nobody else to turn to. It was a weekend, so Laura wasn't around, and then it was kind of like being in a pressure cooker. But my advice is really like seek help, like talk to friends, like bounce things out of people, even if, like Monty said, people that don't have anything to do with this, they're gonna, like, we don't see ourselves how other people see us. And the point of view of people, whether they are in academia or not, reflects on who you are, and that helps you see how you want to be seen too. So that process of bouncing things around with people, with your community, with those who know you, with those who love you, is very important. And I'm not in social media, like I'm completely not in social media. I only have a LinkedIn account, if you want to link in with me. Other than that, I have nothing. I am completely against it, but I understand I'm a different generation. But I think that if that's your thing, use it. I felt very uncomfortable going to Slack. I didn't know how to navigate it. So, I mean, it was like, I don't belong here, kind of. So for me, it's different. But I think it's crucial to seek support from your network, whatever the network looks like.
Well, you definitely belong, Elena. I'm glad you mentioned LinkedIn, because that's a resource that I encourage folks to utilize a lot. We often will go to the either alumni ambassador page on the Fulbright website or the grantee directory and look at the country or countries that someone is interested in applying to. And then we copy and paste that name right into a LinkedIn search, and then there they are. And I do this for all awards, not just Fulbright. And you wouldn't believe how many people are willing to talk to you and are generous with your time. And Rebecca, if I'm remembering correctly, we did this for you. Is that right?
I think we talked about it. I don't think we ended up doing it. We just,
Okay.
yeah.
Any tips or tricks that you would want to offer about kind of finding your people?
Sure. I definitely appreciate having the committee, the campus committee, Ashley, Ginny, Laura giving feedback, was very helpful. And before, in terms of advice, when we had the meeting, the Zoom call, I asked if I could record, do a voice transcript. And that was very helpful because after that conversation, I was like, I need to soak this all in. And my committee members willingly recorded, but then I also did the text, the speech to text or voice to text transcript. So that was very helpful because I literally just copied and pasted it, converted that to bullet points, and I was like, okay, this is what I need to do, and a checklist. And I went down the list and I made all the updates, like all the recommendations that they gave. I made the updates on my application. So that was also community for me, and that's the advice I'll give to future applicants to, just use that full transcript on Zoom and write it into a checklist.
Wonderful. And so tomorrow we're having our Fulbright 101, where we're going to kind of break down how Rutgers Camden supports our students really fully. But just to clarify, so yes, we have this committee. It is a large committee of campus faculty and staff, But what we've done over the last year is we assign 2 committee members to every applicant, and those really become your mentors. And they will not only offer you feedback in more than one session in a lot of cases, but they're there. I know Rebecca has kept in touch with her committee members. They're there to offer additional advice. And so where having like everybody at the table can be a little intimidating and not everybody gets to speak, it's a much more intimate process that we have. So thank you so much for sharing that. Okay, here's our final question. So, we've talked about a lot tonight, some of which, can be probably a little intimidating for some of the folks that are in the room. And so whether they're thinking about applying for a Fulbright now or in the future, or, just considering other awards, it sounds like some of you have also explored other award opportunities as a result, or maybe, in your processes. What advice do you have for someone who's thinking about taking this leap?
Start early. Oh my God, start early. I regret not looking at the world of fellowships and scholarships and all that stuff at the beginning of my trajectory, because these deadlines creep up on you so quick. The eligibility factors, like, they creep up on you really quickly. I could have been getting paid to do my dissertation this whole time, but I just forgot and waited, and the dissertation fellowships are out the window. So start early, and definitely hit up OSDFA. 110%, like, hit these people up. Even when starting early, I think I met with Deborah Linham, and like, she went over the whole world of what your options are. I was late, but like, still, if I would have started that again at the beginning of this journey, back in 2020, maybe back even earlier than that, like, you will be so poised if you start early to like know when these deadlines are, what awards you want to go for, and what you need to do to get them. So yeah, start early. Start so early.
Thank you, Monty.
I will add to that, just do it, like Nike says, right? Like, I encourage you to believe in yourselves and your capabilities, and keep in mind that the world may not see you like you see yourselves, and we are our hardest critics most of the time. So just give yourself a chance. Like, don't doubt yourself, and just apply. And yes, I have lost a lot of opportunities because time goes by fast and you're focused on other things, and prioritize it. Prioritize yourself,
Thank you. Rebecca?
Sure, I'll add to that too. There's, as Helena and Montreal said, just set aside time. So last semester for me was just Fridays, and I said, you know what? This is the block of time I have to just deal with this application, and I'm not going to let anything else distract me or take away from that focus. So just whatever time block you have, just set it aside and work on it. And the deadlines do creep up. So find a system, whether it's an Excel spreadsheet or even just a to-do list or anything, just to help you keep track of the applications. Because you would see them, and sometimes they're just emails, sometimes you need to sign up. But just find a way to like block out the time. How much time do you need to get these specific things done, especially when you need to get recommendation letters, so they have advance notice, and just create a system around it. What are the requirements? What are the essays? What questions are they asking? And what can you use from your previous essay for this new one too? Because once you go through that reflective process and you know exactly what your goals are, then you could just, I won't say plug and play per se, but you could use a lot of what you've used before to apply for future applications.
That's definitely one of my favorite pieces of advice. There's all good advice here, but I can't tell you how many of our applicants over the years have said, oh yeah, like I reused my essay from that application. And a lot of that, like that's vulnerability, that energy that has come out, you can repurpose it. So that's wonderful. A lot of these pieces of advice really play nicely into, what we're doing in OSDFA. And so we definitely encourage you, if you're on social media, to follow along with us. We do include LinkedIn as social media. Our 2 primary platforms are our Instagram page and our LinkedIn page. And we also have an interest form for folks that are just getting started. This is just a very brief background information, and it's usually the cue for Jordan and I to reach out and set up a time for us to talk a little bit more about, what your goals are and whether Fulbright's the right fit or maybe it's something else. And tomorrow, as I alluded to, we are having our Fulbright 101, which is going to really break down the award and help folks really think about the purpose behind Fulbright, its mutual exchange, all the different award opportunities that are available for you, and really finding your fit in this space. So we welcome you all to join us if you're available, and if not, we will have a recording of that soon as well. And in all cases, this information is going to be uploaded to our brand new Canvas site. We're really excited about this. I think a lot of what we heard from our applicants tonight is, being organized, right? Rebecca was just sharing, like, have a system, have a process, know those timelines. And so to that end, Jordan primarily, but the two of us have been working super hard on getting this Canvas site ready to go. And we are launching it on Monday, April 1st, just in time for the Fulbright application to open on Tuesday. And within those modules that you see there, we will have an entire Fulbright module with all of our favorite advice, resources from some of our colleagues all across the country. We've been working with folks down at VCU and Rutgers, New Brunswick, and Loyola to steal some of their great ideas that they give very willingly and generously. And so you not only have like our experiences and knowledge in guiding our students, but you'll have access to information from other institutions as well. So we're really excited to share this with you all. And so with that, we thank you for joining us this evening. A special thank you to our panelists for sharing their experiences. If our panelists are willing, we'd love it if you shared your contact information in the chat so that anyone who would like to be in touch with you after this evening can do so. And before we close out, we can open it up to anyone who would like to ask a question. You're welcome to do that in the chat, or you're welcome to, take yourself off of mute and ask the panelists. All right. As suspected, folks usually are pretty quiet at the end of the day. So I am going to stop our recording. If anyone